Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Terre Haute City Council. It is 6:02 p.m. on Thursday, October 12th. As a custom to all our regular meetings, we start off with a moment of silence and pledge of allegiance. Tonight it will be led by Councilwoman Crossen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if this is your first time at a city council meeting, on our regular meetings, we have a section where we allow public comment on non-agenda items. We have quite a bit on our agenda tonight, so...
Mr. President?
Yes.
Roll call.
I'm sorry. Roll call, please. Yes.
Councilwoman Aller? Present. Councilman Azar? Councilwoman Crossen? Present. Councilman DeBon?
Here.
Councilman Elliott?
Here.
Councilman Garrison?
Present.
Councilman Morris?
Here.
Councilman Nasser?
Present.
Councilman Nation?
Here.
8 are present, 1 is absent.
Sorry, I was wanting to get home to the Cubs game, so that's why I'm trying to move this along. Just basically to go over what I just mentioned, we have quite a bit on our agenda tonight, so if you're here to speak about something that is not on our agenda, we have 30 minutes allocated for that. The queue up here has our agenda on there, so if there's anybody that'd like to speak on non-agenda items, please come to the podium and state your name and address and leave your comments to 3 minutes or less. Going once. Thank you.
My name is Mike Harding. I live at 5543 Hallie Ray Lane in Terre Haute. And I'm the president of Friends of Ray Park. I just want to make you well aware that our study for Ray Park has been completed. It's been given to the mayor. And our group is concerned about the budget. We've heard some talk about golf courses. And the only thing I can say is that we feel like for the group of the age group of 25 to 65, the golf courses, the tennis, the racquetball, all of that really needs to be seriously considered before there might be a cut. And it's because basically Terre Haute has a lot of problems with their health. The general population rates in the lower, really almost at the bottom of the state. So maybe in the future we can share our plans through the media. And on a personal note, I worked at Ray Park when I was a kid, and it taught me a lot. There's a lot of life experiences that we learned there, and a lot of us worked there, and we were successful. So I'm just hoping that you'll really consider how valuable that 160-acre park is, right in the middle of really kind of downtown for the southern part of, I guess downtown's no longer downtown. It's really, a lot of us moved south. But so we're just a little concerned and hope that you'll think about it before you make a move. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak on non-agenda items? Okay. Next order of business, Michelle, please.
Resolution 14,
Oh, I'm sorry. Corrections to the general.
There are none.
Okay. Communications.
They're in your packets.
Okay. Reports from governmental agencies.
Just a note, we'll have a special meeting October 26, 2017 at 5:30 p.m. concerning the sanitary budget for 2018. There will also be a special meeting November 9, 2017 at 5:30, a presentation by Launch Terre Haute. Notices will be sent out.
Thank you. Mayor, do you have anything? Okay. All right. First order of business, please.
Resolution 14, 2017, designating an area commonly identified as 4400 Maple Avenue, Terre Haute, Indiana, as the economic revitalization area for the purpose of a 10-year personal property tax abatement, GATX Corporation. This is for confirmation.
Petitioner to speak on this, please.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Young from GATX Corporation. I spoke here a couple times. Just wanted to see if there was any questions or anything else that the City Council would like to go over or bring up with regard to our proposal before you go ahead and vote.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Resolution 14, 2017?
Yes, I do have one comment.
Okay, sure. Please come to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
My name is Mitchell McCord, and my address is 8356 East Sunset Avenue, Terre Haute, Indiana 47805. And I wanted to thank GATX for coming to the past meetings over the last month. I do have one concern regarding the southeast portion of the property. There is a fence that creates an obstruction of view for drivers driving on Old Maple Avenue, and it potentially has a hazard for drivers at nighttime or in the daytime not being able to see. And I was wondering if it would be possible to take part of that fence out so that the road is a little bit more clear for drivers. And that's all I have to say about that. But I support your work. So.
Sure, you know, I mean, that's something that we could write down and we could take a look at and see. We'll run it up the pole and have somebody go out there and take a look at it. If it's exactly what you're saying, then I'm sure we could do something about it.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
Anyone else? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilman Nation?
if there are no further questions, I move that we confirm Resolution number 14, 2017.
Second. It's been moved by Councilman Nation, second by Councilman Morris, that we confirm Resolution 14, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much. Next order of business, please.
Resolution 15, 2017, designating an area commonly identified as 4400 Maple Avenue, Terre Haute, Indiana, as an economic revitalization area for the purpose of a 10-year real property tax abatement, GATX Corporation. This is also for confirmation.
Petitioner, speak on this, please.
Any questions with regard to the second resolution? I'm here to answer them.
Anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Resolution 15, 2017? Council?
President Nasser, I move to confirm Resolution 15, 2017 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Garrison, second by Councilwoman Crossan, that we confirm Resolution 15, 2017. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Confirmed. Thank you.
Thank
Next
you very
order of
much.
business, please.
GATX appreciates your support and our partnership with the Terre Haute Council and the community, and we'll be moving forward on the project, so thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next order of business, Michelle, please.
Resolution 18, 2017, as amended, designating an area commonly identified as 1001, 1009, and 1025 Wabash Avenue, Terre Haute, Indiana, is the economic revitalization area for the purpose of an 8-year rural property tax abatement. Pfizer Properties, LLC. This is for confirmation.
Petitioner, speak on this, please.
Mr. President, members of the council, my name is Lou Britton. I'm here this evening with Bob Sensman, a different principal of the company than you've seen in the past, but this is the project for construction of a new warehouse and office facility to serve Lee Equipment Company. It will be located, as you said, at the corner of 10th and Wabash. If there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Resolution 18, 2017? Council?
President Nasser,
Councilman Morris?
I move that we confirm Resolution 18, 2017.
second.
It's been moved by Councilman Morris, second by Councilman Garrison, that we confirm Resolution 18, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next order of business, please.
Resolution 19, 2017, as amended, designating an area commonly identified as 1055 South Hunt Street, Terre Haute, Indiana, is the economic revitalization area for the purpose of a 10-year personal property tax abatement. Tri-Aerospace, LLC. This is for confirmation.
Petitioner, speak on this, please.
Hi, Tim Conrad, tax representative for Tri-Aerospace. We've presented the project before, but would be open to any questions that come up.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Resolution 19, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilman Elliott?
I move we confirm Resolution 19, 2017 as amended.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Elliott, second by Councilman DeBon, that we confirm Resolution 19, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, sir. Next order of business, please.
Appropriation 6, 2017, the 2018 City of Terre Haute budget is proposed amendments before you.
Welcome.
Mr. President, members of the council, Mayor Duke Bennett. Obviously, we went through this in quite a bit of detail over the last 6 weeks or so in our various meetings. I wanted to remind you just of kind of a couple major points. One being that this budget is less than last year's budget, so that's a good thing, considering we had some increases in a variety of areas. Our revenues will exceed expenses by $2.4 million, at least, at a minimum, for next year, so that's another very good thing. This will be the third year of having a balanced budget, so even though we continue to get, a lot of negative press from the perspective of finances, this will be the third year in a row with a balanced budget overall, and we'll continue to knock away at the general fund deficit. The other deficits in the other funds, as I talked last week, will be resolved at the end of this year, and so we won't carry anything over except the 2 golf courses in the general fund. So that's a pretty good situation, considering we've only really raised a little bit of revenue through the trash fee and the increase in the pilot. I've not received a lot of feedback from the council, so other than Councilman Elliott, who provided some information, I know he shared it with all of you, and so I'll defer to the time when we have a council discussion about any changes or any other questions that we may have, but I don't have any new information that I want to present tonight. I'd rather get into that part of it, so ready to move on to the next step.
Okay. Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Appropriation 6, 2017? Council?
President Nasser, I have a question for the mayor. You said 2.4 million is what we're going to underspend. Mayor?
Revenues will exceed expenses.
Okay. And then last year, for the 17 budget, do you know yet what we're going to be at the end of the year?
Not exactly. I mean, we've got some rough, estimates, but it's a little too early to tell what the final is going to be until we get through the rest of that spending. But there doesn't seem to be anything significant that's happened that we weren't planning on.
Okay. Thank you. I yield.
Mayor, I had a question.
Okay.
Last week, you had mentioned the term placeholder. What do you mean by that when it comes to the budget?
Well, primarily placeholders are in edit more than anywhere. But because it's our plan, that's a little different than all the other budgets. Sometimes, and I know we put some group health as a placeholder, we put some additional dollars in there because at the time that we advertised the budget, we had not been back through all the group health. We knew we were short this year in some areas because of our increase, and we knew we wanted to make sure we didn't have the same problem next July when we have a new year that kicks in. So we tried to build enough in there to make sure we didn't get short, because we can't appropriate money throughout the year in the general fund. The other funds we typically can, but we wanted to make sure the funds that are a little tighter, that we put enough money in there to be able to cover that cost for this year. We have to adjust for this year, but then there could be a change next year. We don't know.
So you're saying that the only placeholders you have are basically an edit and the group health?
That I'm aware of, yep. I mean, there could be $5,000 here or there where we've had some spikes in the past of something, but very small amount of dollars. There's nothing significant.
Okay. And then last week, I had mentioned the, for lack of a better word, redundancy in the services that both Scott Walker and Umball Associates provides, and you had said that you were going to look to see if there are other communities that do the same thing, have more than one financial advisor. I didn't know if you had that information.
No, I've not been available to get that information, so it'll have to come after tonight's meeting. I've been at the AIM conference this week and talked to a lot of people, and yes, there are, so I just need to put a list together to confirm who some of these players are.
Do you feel that that amount will be reduced? I know Leslie was on leave for a few months. Do you think that next year that amount will be reduced by whether it's Scott Walker or Umball and Associates, or
Well-
it will be the same?
One big change is the comprehensive financial plan won't need to be done, which we've not received the bill on that yet, which it's coming.
Okay.
And, depends on if we do any bonding or not, which we don't have anything other than what we're going to be talking about next month. That should be done. So those are two huge things that affect financial reporting.
Okay, and then with regards to the county and their Lowit discussion, would you be safe to say that we probably won't be getting anything next year for that, or are you still expecting that?
That's hard to say. I don't think anybody knows. And so there's nothing built into the budget, of course, for that.
Nothing, so you're not expecting any revenues at all to come to make this budget?
If it does, we will need to make some adjustments so we can spend the money, because we don't have anything targeted to receive and expend funds, because we don't know how much.
All right, but you're not expecting it to be balanced or anything with the extra revenue coming from the county then?
Well, if that extra revenue comes in, then what we will do is offset the general fund by whatever amount that is.
Okay, so we use.
So if it was $2 million, then we reduce the general fund budget by $2 million and spend $2 million in the third, you've got police and fire in the general fund, but then we would have a public safety budget. We would pull some of those expenses out and spend them out of that budget.
Okay.
But the council would need to approve that.
But this budget doesn't expect that then?
No.
Basically. Okay. I yield. Councilman Garrison.
Yeah, I just thought of something else, Mayor. This wasn't my idea, but I know we've talked about spousal carve-out a few times, and others have brought that up. I think our attorney, Mr. Felling, said that you've got 7 bargaining units this year. Is that correct? Wouldn't this be a good time to start spousal carve-out with as many of those as we can?
If I may,
Yeah,
I'd
sure.
like
Go
to
ahead.
interject.
Yep.
Obviously, anytime you have something like this, we have it in the back of our minds when we go into contract negotiations. We can't discuss it, obviously, right now, because none of them are complete at this point. But, I don't mean to speak for the mayor. We've discussed the idea of a spousal carve-up for several years, and it is on the radar.
Okay, all right.
Our goal would be to try to pick a date in the future here where they can all line up and hit at the same time, because the contracts are not on the same schedules. That'd be the goal.
I don't know if they ever line up together.
Well, no, you see, if you set it out a couple of years, then they will all line up.
You mean like set a date, like by this time we're all gonna,
That would be,
Agreed
that's
to
our
that.
Get
goal.
everybody on the same playing field.
So it all happens at the same time.
okay, well, I just wanted to bring it up, because I know we've talked about it for not just this year, but I think before. It seems like it'd be a good time to make some progress. Thanks. I yield.
Well, and to follow up on that, I guess we hear that so much up here, is that we've been working on it, we're going to do it. I don't understand why we can't just go in there and, we all know that our medical costs, our health insurance is the biggest increase in this year's budget. Why wouldn't it be something that we just say, this is what we're going to do by the year 2020, 2021? I think the taxpayers would at
That's
least
what we're
know that we
saying.
got a plan.
That's what we're saying.
Okay.
And
What is
the
it?
problem is, if I'm bargaining, if I'm one of those agreements, I don't want to be the first one to go and then wait for somebody for 3 years to not have it. So that's why we're doing it now and establishing a date a couple of years out here where it all hits at the same time. That's our goal. Exactly that.
Councilwoman Crossen.
I'm confused. You said a couple of years out, and you said 2021, so
I don't know how many years it'll take. That's why the
But what's your
negotiations
goal?
are ongoing.
I understand you don't know exactly how many years it could take, but what is your goal?
As short as possible.
I would suggest you'll be more successful if you have a more specific goal. I yield.
Well, everybody has an opinion.
Councilman Hurley.
Thank you. If anybody questions why I think we should cut the budget further, I think we should show we're as serious as we can be about solving our cash shortage problem. And if we don't analyze the budget and come up with some cuts, then the appearance would be we're just paying lip service to that question. Now, also, if there is money in the budget, in a budget line that I don't feel should be there, then I put it on this list I prepared, and I want to take it out, because otherwise it's there to be available later in the year to transfer to another account and be spent. So my feeling is, if it doesn't need to be there on that line, then I want to take it out. Now, as we all know, the pattern has been, it takes us a while before we get the administration's best shot at expenses. So I didn't look a lot at expenses until Friday. We got their revised Form 1s and Form 2s Thursday night. They were handed to us. So until then, why would I be chasing after things that they may be chasing after? And I thought it was the best use of my time to just wait until it, took me well into the evening on Friday, and then also support time on Saturday to get that out to everybody as quickly as I could, and to be fair. The mayor talks about these budgets having a $2.4 million surplus. Well, almost $1.5 million of that is in the wastewater utility, and just based upon the debt service coverage requirements and so forth, it about has to have a surplus. But only $61,000 was in the general fund, and that's the fund we got the largest 1782 notice cut on our 2017 budget. So I just wanted to try to bump that general fund up as much as we could. One of the changes that did appear in the data that we received last week was in other receipts for the general fund, a line called other receipts, and it all of a sudden increased by $373,000 from what it was on the first version of Form 2 that we were given. And I had asked about that, and don't know that I got an explanation yet as to what that is. But one way to balance your budget is to overpromise on the revenue.
That's a good, solid number. We reviewed it again yesterday.
What's there now that wasn't there before?
We went through because the original numbers came from Umbaugh and Associates, and we went back through it again after it was advertised, and we checked this year's revenues, went through every single one of those line items.
Okay, but that's line R913, other receipts, $1,023,200, and the one we got before was $650,000.
Yeah, she had left some stuff out, and I personally don't know. Leslie may know what was left out.
If she left some stuff out, it would have been pretty easy to respond to my email, here's what was left out.
Yeah, and I thought we had done that, so I apologize.
Nobody's told me what's left out.
Because we've got the list. I mean, I've got the breakdown of each of those categories, what we estimate the revenues to be.
I don't understand if that $350,000 isn't valid, then the general fund budget isn't valid.
But it is valid, so, I mean, we went back through it again.
You're telling me it's valid. I don't have any information to look at for me to form my own opinion as to whether it's valid or not.
Okay.
That's where we are at this point in time on that issue, and I just want council to know that. Before I ran for council, I talked to the finance chairman in Evansville, because I saw they were having some budget difficulties. And he told me, he said, one of the things you need to watch out for is overpromising on the revenue to justify your expenses being up. And we saw that happen big time a few years ago in major amounts that we've talked about. So I just try to pay a lot of attention to that. Then I also emailed with you on the wastewater. Okay, you've got a budget here for a W-2 or a Form 2 for the wastewater that has $15,150,000 for the last half of 2017, and then has $30,300,000, or twice that for 2018, and we've got a rate increase that goes into effect at the first of the year. Well, it just doesn't make sense that the last half of 17, or the 2018 would be merely twice of 2017. I mean, that just doesn't make sense to me unless that rate increase generates no revenue. If the rate increase generates no additional revenue, then I guess we don't have to worry about passing any more rate increases if nobody's going to pay the increase.
I went through the numbers and submitted that to you yesterday, and you shot back with your answers. We always budget conservatively on revenues and then 100% on expenses. And so in this case, there's probably a few $100,000 I believe I would feel comfortable with raising it, but not $1 million.
Well, based upon $15,150,000 for 6 months of 17, $30,300,000 is an insult to a councilman that voted for a rate increase that was effective the start.
Some of those revenues that came in earlier the year were related to hauling, and we won't be doing that anymore. So that's one thing that will change in 18. We won't be doing the hauling from other communities. So there's some money in there that we received for that have an impact on that clearly. That was the biggest thing I could see that was different.
Well, again, it's the first we've been told or heard of that, but when I watch the financial statements, I mean, I've got the June statement, there's a fair amount of other revenue other than the fees that's in that account, and the segregation of the sewage fees from the other revenue somehow just doesn't appear on the Form 2. I mean, the Form 2 that I have says sewage fees, period, one line item. So that's sewage fees and everything.
Everything but the trash, because we put that on the other budget.
Okay, but we've got multiple categories in the actual financial statement.
Absolutely.
We only have one number here.
Right, it's a total.
Okay. So $30,300,000, that's what you're sticking with?
I would be willing to raise it a little bit, but I don't think it's going to make any difference here. It's not going to have any impact on their budget. If we receive more revenues, that's great. If people don't pay their bills, if we lose some of that, we may. And so this is just a budget, it's a guide, it's a budget, and if we want to raise it a little bit, I would be comfortable with raising it a few $100,000, but not $1 million. I think that's too high, just in the numbers that I've seen.
Okay.
We would need to do that tonight, though, so if we wanted to settle on something, because everything's in Gateway now, so whatever changes are made tonight need to be updated, and so I'll be happy to do that. If you've got, I don't support $1 million of an increase. I just don't think it's going to be there. That's what my gut tells me. I'm going to be conservative.
But how can you support nothing when we've passed a rate increase? I mean, the form he gave us says nothing.
No, there's that second line down there shows a 4% net added on to it for the revenues.
No,
I don't know what I gave you yesterday. That's what we're using as our guide.
Okay. So how much are you willing to increase it by?
I would say it's 3 now, probably not more than 8, so 500,000, maybe split the difference from what you had. So it'd take us to 30,800,000.
Okay. All right. On expenses, I had sent a list of questions and got a response from Leslie late last night. A couple of follow-up questions I have related to that. The fire non-reverting budget has a budget line for overtime dollars, but no regular pay dollars.
Right.
But it also has fringe benefits in there like health insurance and dental insurance and
It's a
retirement.
percentage of that overtime portion.
Okay. Okay, so we can do that for that. For this fund, we can determine what the fringe benefits are that relate to that $50,000.
Well, those are the actual costs for those contractual services that we went out and performed.
Okay, so then for 2018, if we go to split the general fund fire budget between EMS and fire, we ought to be able to make those same calculations and do it.
You can do that for who's assigned,
Okay.
but not for every time we fill in somebody else. That doesn't make any sense to do that.
Huh?
It wouldn't make any, we can put 18 firefighters, paramedics that are on the ambulances, we could break them out. But it's every time they're on vacation, take a day off, and we bring in somebody from fireside, I don't think it's worth trying to calculate every time we have a day of somebody filling in of their percentage for that day to try to track that in a separate budget.
Okay, well, we can have that discussion on another day.
Okay, all right.
There are the budget lines for the wastewater utility, for salaries and wages. Those were increased 3% over the prior year, the budget lines. I just didn't know if everybody knew that. When you look at this year's budget and last year's budget, they're 3% higher. Okay? Just a point of information.
But we don't have a salary ordinance supporting that yet because the
Right.
union negotiations aren't finished.
That's
Is that
correct.
the explanation there?
Yep.
So is that a little glimpse into the future of what's happening with the wastewater utility
Well,
workers?
I mean, you set a budget amount, and you can't go over it, so, and then you have a salary ordinance, right, to support what is paid. So just tells me that there's an expectation there of a revised salary ordinance at some point in time. That's the message I get, and I just, if it's in the budget, and it's in, the salary ordinance comes, I don't know which one rules, or they both rule, or how that works. I'm a little bit new at some of the details here as to how that.
Earl, you can't go over, but you can go under that, correct?
Sure. I saw in the wastewater utility budget pretty significant line item for equipment rental, which causes me to ask the question, if there's routine equipment rental, then maybe pieces ought to be owned instead of rented. And the response I got is, yeah, we need to look into that.
Yeah, Debbie's going to review all of that. And there may be some, and sometimes it's just because some years you have a bunch of stuff that happens. So we'll see. We'll let her walk through that.
Okay. And then we've got the a new segregated line item for lagoon cleanup. The city obviously didn't put that pulp in those lagoons. So why is it we're on the hook for paying for it to come out?
My question too. Chuck's better to answer that, but we're going to provide some information to you. Basically, IDM changed their mind about the cleanup. They let IP off the hook, and they were going to make us clean it up. So we have to move through with the process, and then we can decide at a later time if we want to go after and challenge in a legal perspective IDM on that. But there's much more to the story, but that's the basis of it. We're on the hook to get the lagoons cleaned out. They let IP off of the hook. They did what they had to do, the minimum stuff, and then they came back to us later and the rules have changed. We'll provide some more information on that, though, because I've got questions about that, too.
Yeah,
It could be a substantial amount of money, more than what we've put in the budget for next year.
I understand.
Yeah,
Just a
it could be a lot.
It's a start. Well, I mean, it's just, This doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't, I agree. It's pulp, it's wood.
Huh?
It's wood, it's pulp, it's not even something that can contaminate anything. So,
Okay. Well, I had distributed to everybody via email and also passed out this evening a spreadsheet on budget cuts. And in preparing that, for the most part, I looked at 2015 and 2016 spending, and also looked at year-to-date 2017 spending, and compared that to 2018 budget. And, you know, the 2018 budget was up here, the prior year's spending was down here, then I put that on the list to narrow the gap. Not all the way down to what the spending pattern has been, but to take a lot of that slack out. That's why I put those amounts over on the right-hand side to show you the 2015, 2016, first 6 months of 17, and then the pre-cut budget amount, which is always, in virtually all those cases, significantly higher. And then that pre-cut budget amount appears over on the left side, the amount of the deduction I proposed, and then what I would hope would be the adopted budget amount. And I didn't get any much of a response from anybody other than President Nasser asked me why I didn't have one or two other things on there that he saw, and I'm just curious as to what everybody thinks about this that schedule. I'm just talking about the first page for right now.
Earl, I appreciate all the work that you did on this, and as I look over it, to me, it all makes sense. I'm glad that you're ferreting out these extra amounts of money and comparing them to actual spends in the past years. This is very valuable information to me. I'm supportive of it.
Thank you.
And I would echo Todd's remarks.
Mayor, have you seen these?
yeah, but there's some of these we just can't, we just haven't spent some of the money yet. So we can walk through these if you'd like.
Yeah,
Please.
So the first one, on instruction for IT, since we cut a position out, we're going to have to do some training of our existing staff. So we totally eliminated a position, which will save us a significant amount of money. We're either going to have to hire consultants, outside service providers to us to assist us, and or do training of existing staff to be able to do some of the duties they have. So it's a pretty small amount of money. If we cut it out, then probably our contractual services will go up a little bit. So this is a small one. That's all I can say about that one. Electrical inspector, we've just not found the right person. We're required by city code to have an electrical inspector. We currently have one person doing both of those positions, and Chuck's interviewed a couple of different rounds, and we've just not found the right person that has the right skill set and the right credentials to do that job. We need to fill that position.
So have we still been doing electrical inspections?
Yes. But we have one person doing two different jobs.
How long have we not had an electrical?
Oh, it's probably been a year and a half now, I would suspect. And once again, what we pay and for the credentials and the requirements for that job, we've not been able to find the right person.
So
We'll
what's
continue
that
to
person
search.
do besides
Excuse me?
electrical inspections?
I'm sorry?
What's that person do besides electrical inspections?
They just do electrical in that case. That person would just do all the electrical inspections.
No, I mean the person that's doing them now.
Oh, he's the lead inspector. So he's in charge, the lead inspector for everything, so he's picked up those duties.
Help me with what a lead inspector is.
He's the head inspector, the head building inspector, the lead.
Okay. So there's nobody currently on the staff to move to that position?
Not that has that electrical skill set, for the requirements for that job. We've just not been able, there's nobody in-house, and we're not been able to find anybody outside either.
Okay.
So I mean, if we decided we were going to cut it for a half a year or something, I could probably support that, but we have to get somebody in that position at some point. So I was thinking about that today, we could say we won't hire them until July 1st.
Councilman DeBon.
A year and a half without an electrical inspector seems like quite a bit of time.
Mhm.
I guess, how are you seeking somebody for this position?
We advertise.
Okay.
We've done through that process twice. And they've interviewed and not found the right person. Some of it has to do with the salary, some of it has to do with credentials.
Go to the next one, Mayor.
Okay? Medical, surgical, and dental, I mean, that's $10,000. That's no issue. School security. We will owe $172,000 next year. The way they've been billing us, it's not been cycling right. And so, and the other thing that's changed is they now deduct what they pay us for crossing guards. They assist us with half of the cost of crossing guards. And so they've got a new CFO. And so we just received an email recently saying how he wants to roll that out and do the billing. He wants to do it differently than the previous CFO did. And so we will owe a total of $172,000 next year. We're going to owe about $82,000 this year because of our credits, but next year will be a full year with the full amount with the credit, be $172,000.
Okay, let's, the contract with the school corporation, we pay the school corporation $172,000.
Right.
Okay.
City pays for the city schools, county pays for the county schools.
Okay. And then you're saying they pay us for the crossing guards?
They pay us half back. They've done that for the last few years.
So what is half?
About $45,000 or so.
Okay,
It varies.
okay. So, our current crossing guards, you had deducted, off your version of the budget, you put that from 90,000 to 5,000. On the Board of Works, crossing guards was 90,000, you deducted it
I
to,
don't remember that right now. Look here. Oh, you reduced it by 5,000. I thought you said you took it down to 5,000. My fault.
So, you have access to those agreements with the school corporation on that? Does the Board of Work make those contracts?
The Board of Works, we are responsible for the crossing guards by state statute.
Okay.
So there is no contract. They just voluntarily provide us with those funds. There is an agreement for the school resource officers.
Okay.
Yep.
But there's not for the agreement that you made with the school corporation with regards to the crossing guards?
No, they're basically making a donation to us to cover half of the cost. We just tell them what we spend. They're not required to do that. That's just something they chose to do. We had that conversation a few years ago for budgetary reasons, and they volunteered to do that.
What else?
So what are we going to pay in 2017 on that line item?
It seemed like it was close to $90,000 total is what we owe for this year. Because we got a credit from the past, but once again, we can forward you the email. I just saw the email today.
Okay, you can do that.
The new CFO he's laid it out differently.
Here we are, 2015, way less than budget, 2016, way less than budget, 2017, way less than budget, and then all of a sudden, 2018.
Same contract, so it's just the way they build us.
It's bumped back up.
Yep, that's just the way they build us. And we pay it when they bill us, so I don't know. I'm not in the middle of that. All I know is what the new email says, how he wants to handle it as we move forward. They pay it, and then we owe our portion. Same thing the way they do with the county.
Okay.
So, let's see.
Next.
Hang on a second, I got to get it back.
I think the next one was sidewalks for edits.
Yeah, well, I mean, sure, we can always cut edit, there's plenty of sidewalks that need to be done. I mean, you can look into 311 and see how many reports of sidewalk issues we have. We had, in the past couple of years, we got a grant that matched our amount of money, so we were able to do more. And so now the grants are gone, we don't have any availability to that anymore, and so this would be kind of what we would spend as a total. So if it's a pleasure of the council to remove $100,000 from there, then we'll just do $100,000 less work next year. I mean, can live with that. That's
$50,000 more than the 17 budget.
Yep.
And just ballpark, 100,000, would that be, how many blocks less would we be able to do with that?
And I don't know. It kind of all depends if we're doing regular sidewalks or we're doing handicap ramps, because it's a mix of that. So something we'll have to give.
How many years did we get grants?
2.
Matching? And they decided to quit that?
No, it was just, it was an availability for a period of time, and we were successful in getting that. So it was just
So are
state
we
money.
Applying for any more grants? I mean, is there?
Not for sidewalks. That was just and I think they reallocated some funds, some federal money back through the state, through the MPO, and we were able to secure those when those aren't there anymore.
Thank you.
Cemetery?
Yeah, cemetery for services contractual, it just varies, and so, we could make a cut there, but if something happens, we'll still have to spend the money, so, we may have to come back and ask for an additional appropriation. Cemetery has a positive balance, so that would be possible if we get into a situation where we have to hire an outside contractor to do something. I'd be willing to cut about 10,000 there. We need to leave a little bit in there.
Okay, but do you have my spreadsheet?
Uh-huh.
Look at the numbers over on the right-hand side.
Right.
For that total section, that total section of accounts.
Mm-hmm.
We haven't been within $22,000 or $23,000 of our budget in 15 or 16.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's why I felt, a $15,000.
Yeah, no, I understand how you came up with that. We've just cut all the other areas so much. This is kind of the last one where if we don't spend it, we can move it from here to cover other overages, because if
But
you
I'm
have,
saying there's other lines within that same
Yeah,
category.
there's just
of
not-
budget that are traditionally underspent also.
yeah, but we've been cutting them slowly. So there's that budget has been reduced dramatically from what it used to be.
Okay, 2016 actual versus 2018, that's a $30,000 difference.
Mm-hmm.
So I took half of that out. That's all, 14.7 is about half of that.
Right, I mean, obviously, we still have 6 months worth of,
No, that's 2016 actual.
no, I know, but I'm talking about for 17.
Okay. All right, so I think I was reasonably conservative in that cut.
What kind of services contractual would be in a cemetery?
Heating and cooling, roof. I mean, some things we talked about the other day, we got to do a new roof out there. That'll come out of services contractual. Anybody you hire to come in and do something that we don't do. So at the cemeteries, it would be any outside vendor that would do something that we don't have the staff or the equipment to do. In this case, we put money in there, left money in there to be able to do the roof and the heating and cooling in the chapel. So we'll have to not do one of those two, and so be it.
Next.
Okay, engineering non-reverting, cell phone, yeah, we're fine with that one. I think that was just one that we hadn't caught. It was $7,000 total. Fire pension death benefits, yeah. If they die, if somebody dies, we have to pay it out. And so if it's not in that line item, we'll have to find it somewhere else.
But again, there's other accounts in that budget.
Not much left in the pensions anymore.
Where there's traditional underspend.
But in the pensions, those are down now. We took out all the group health, all the medical, surgical, dental, those are gone now. So it's only paying out to retired firefighters, their spouses, and this.
2016, there are a number of other accounts that were underspent in that budget.
Yeah, it was, but now, from now on, though, there won't be anywhere to take it from.
Well, I mean, I would have paid attention to what the 2018 budget was for those,
Mhm.
and I still think there's other accounts in there with budgeted underspent for 2018.
So for $30,000, I think that's what that says. It's kind of hard to read. Yeah, $30,000. So we'll have to come back and ask the council to appropriate additional money if we have one more firefighter than average die next year. I mean, that's kind of what it boils down to. And in the past, we've had a cushion to be able to move money over. This year, we went over on police. We had an extra policeman die that we didn't budget. We've covered that. So, Parks and Recreation, workers' comp, services contractual. Workers' comp, I mean, we never know. We've got 2 claims now that are over $100,000. Not in this department, but we're going to have a claim here for this year. So it could be significant. If we take it out, we'll just have to appropriate money.
Is 20 enough if we have a significant claim?
Most claims are small, but when you have one big one, once again, we could have $100,000. We've had $300,000 claims this year.
So you'd have the same issue if you had 20 on that one?
Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, most of them are small.
Okay.
They're a few thousand.
I'm just looking at 15 and 16.
Well, we've been fortunate in Parks and Recreation. We've been doing pretty good. But some other areas,
There should be safety programs and
there are.
shouldn't have accidents.
But even with safety programs, we've had some significant ones. Councilwoman Crossen.
Yeah, a significant claim, though, would not be within the budget any of those years. You would have had to come back on a significant one, I would think.
Well, just not that budget, but other budgets. I mean, I can tell you right now, MVH has significant
Well, we're not
expense.
talking about MVH, though. We're
No,
talking
but-
about Parks and Rec.
Yeah, they haven't had any. That's my point.
Well, but I'm saying, even without this cut, you'd probably have to come back and ask for more if there was a significant claim.
If it is.
So if we cut it and there's not a significant claim, we'll be fine. And if we
Maybe.
And if we cut it and if we don't cut it and there is a significant claim, you'd have to come back anyway.
In the past, what's happened, we don't always have to come back to the council. Okay? There's always been enough money in other areas within that series to move it over. It's not there anymore. Those funds are gone. We've always had that luxury in the past. The parks budget's been cut by $1.2 million a year. So we've always had a cushion in the past. We don't have that anymore. That's the point.
There you go.
All right.
So is that a yes or no?
Well, we'll just do it, and I would expect us to be back in some of these categories, because it couldn't be any tighter. And on the funds that do not have a cash balance, you will not be able to appropriate. So we'll have to move money to another fund.
Okay, I apologize. I wasn't making very good notes when we started. The instruction for data processing, you're feeling that was a no?
I would prefer it to be a no. It's only $5,000.
Okay, electrical inspector,
I'm willing to do a half a year. I think we can pull that off. So reduce
Okay.
that.
the
Medical
social-
surgery
It's
was
fine.
okay.
Yep.
Medical surgery was okay. General fire.
And we can reduce school security by,
Well,
I'm sorry.
employer, social security, and engineering?
Well, those are all tied to that position, so we'll just cut them in half. Half a year.
Earl, the way I did that one was I totaled them all up and took 50%, got $28,000. Roughly.
Okay, group health and perf, all of those, half? Those four
Yeah,
line
we'll
items?
just cut them in half, yep.
58, you said?
Okay. Medical, surgical, dental,
That's fine, that amount.
okay. School security,
Well, we know we're going to owe $172,000, so I would say we take $15,000 off there for sure. They did say that they've given a raise to them, so there'll be a small adjustment, so we'll need a little bit more than 172. So let's $15,000 we can do, which will be fine. That won't be an issue at all.
Okay, cemetery services contractual, I'm not sure I heard the consensus there.
Well, I'd prefer not to cut it, but, I mean, we'll have to make a decision to either do the roof only and not do the heating and cooling system, but we need to do the roof before we do the heating and cooling system because it's affected it. That's what I've been told.
Okay.
So, that's
Okay,
your,
but we've got 67 in that category, in that category of expenses, not just contractual services, but in all the accounts in that area.
okay?
And we've got 44 actual, a 36 actual, and a 23 actual through 6 months.
And we've just got a couple of big ticket items
So let's,
that we've deferred, basically.
let's change that to 10, the reduction,
Cemetery.
cemetery.
You mean a total of 10 or 10 off?
The cut is 10,000.
Okay, all right.
And then the
Gotcha.
adopted budget amount would
Yep,
be 13.
that's fine.
Okay.
And the 7,000's fine. And if you want to take the fire pension out, just, once again, I'm not sure what we'll do there. We'll figure it out.
Okay, well, I'll get you some information on the other accounts I see where it looks like we're set up for underspend that I left alone.
And then,
Park services contraction.
services contractual, I think we can do that. I mean, we'll do them both, but we'll be back.
Okay?
Thank you.
And in transit, that $6,000 is fine.
Okay.
So, Michelle, are you tracking these changes, or?
I'm completely lost.
Okay.
So I was
I
just
think
going
we've
to ask the
got them.
council.
Somebody just needs to
We've
make
got
one list, because once again, we need to go make these changes this evening. I know we're not done, but we'll make sure we got the right numbers. One piece of paper.
Mr. President, we have been making some notes, but I would just like to remind everyone it might be easier to do the mayor's proposed amendments first, and then we can read, after that's been adopted, if it is, passed, and then we can read these to confirm we have them correct.
Thank you.
Okay. And under wastewater, those are all fine. It's not an issue. That's not $81,000 total.
Now, let's talk about golf courses a little bit. That's the second page. The management contract, privatization contract, whatever it is, that's, it's been out there for a while, still in process, but I just didn't think we wanted to go into 2018 in the same situation we've been in, for all these years. So I, put together some data on the golf courses, emailed that to you, and also passed it out to you today. Basically, the golf courses take in a little over $900,000 a year in revenue, and spend a little under $1.4 million. The average deficit for the last 5 years, $487,000. I don't want another $487,000 in 2018. It's time something happened to improve that situation. We discussed that at some length last week, and I think the answers to all the questions I had is the only say we have is to reduce the expenses. We have no say over the rates they charge and the revenues, and that's the park board's responsibility. Just from what I know of golf courses as an auditor at the country club and what their costs are to maintain that golf course, you can't take $500,000 out of this expense budget and make that work. I suggested, in my mind, 6% of expense reductions and then a significant revenue increase to try to cut the deficit in half is what I had proposed. opposed and have talked to one park board member about that. And that's where I stand on, I'm not going to say stand, that's just a general suggestion that I have concerning the golf course situation. So,
Mayor, what is your thoughts on the golf courses? I mean, do you think we should continue the path we're going? Do you think we should privatize it? What is your thoughts?
I would prefer to continue to operate them ourselves if we're going to have them or not have them in. I mean, that's always the other option.
Right.
I think it's important that we look at every opportunity to do it right. There are, all these companies that responded are managing municipal golf courses. I mean, Indianapolis outsourced theirs 20 years ago and have been doing it ever since, all of their golf courses. Many municipal courses are struggling. It's just kind of the nature of the beast. And so that's what these companies do. They manage municipal courses primarily. About 80 or 90% of it is municipal courses. And so I think it's prudent from the taxpayer perspective, park board, all of us, we need to look at all the options to see what the best option is to continue to have golf courses in the community before we make a decision to eliminate them.
So you still think we should have two?
At this point, yeah, we just got to get, in the past, as I've said, before, when the Parks Board had $1.2 million more in their budget every year, prior to the tax caps, then was no problem covering this, like they cover the swimming pool and all the other things that, tennis courts and everything else that people use. There's a cost to doing those quality of life kind of initiatives. We've got the #1 municipal golf course in the state of Indiana, ranked again to that. They had a couple of tournaments that came in this year and brought a lot of people to the community, so there's some positives to that. But we can't continue to lose at that rate. And so whatever gets us there is the best approach. And so until we walk through the rest of this exercise to see if outsourcing is a viable option or not, we can't eliminate that.
Well, my frustration with the whole process of outsourcing is we've been beating our heads against the wall and talking about it and talking about it and talking about it. When are we going to make the park board have that discussion and that?
As soon as it's ready. I mean, we're not going to do it before that. Okay. And right now, it's all still confidential. We got 4 responses that we have until the end of November to decide if we're going to pursue one of those or not before they expire. And there's a lot of negotiation to see if it makes sense. And so I think we've given them all the information they're looking for. They asked for some staffing information, some current financials. We provided that. And very soon we'll know whether the lead one will make sense or not to take to the park board to be then looked at. They won't make a decision in the first meeting. That just means they will then have a contract to take under advisement to see if they want to pursue that.
Because, see, as a council, we're stuck with, providing the, financing for it. The park board decides, the rates, and if we're going to outsource it. So I think if we keep going the path we're going, then nothing's going to get done. Do you think we could have that done by the end of the year, by January?
Well, it would need to be for next year,
so
in order to do it. The key will be whether the park board supports it or not.
Well, I would think that we need to either see if they're ready to make that decision or not, instead of just kicking the can down the road.
I wouldn't call it kicking the can down the road. We've been working very hard this year and followed all of the statutes to ensure that we did it correctly. You have to do it a certain way. And we also have contract issues with, outsourcing and things. There's a lot of variables. It isn't just a decision you make overnight.
I'm not saying it's a decision to be made overnight, but we're finishing I think we even had the same conversation last year when we did the budget on what we were going to do with the golf courses.
Well, we didn't have the RFP prepared last year.
Okay, but we had talked about possibly doing that.
Yeah, and then we got it done, and we sent it out, and we got our responses back in July. So I think we're not on a bad timeline at all, or June, I'm sorry.
Councilman Morrison.
Well, I'd like, Mr. Harding, how do you feel about a 15% increase in fees?
I feel most of the golfers in town. I'm talking about.
Could you come to the podium, sir? Thank you.
All right. I know a little bit about outsourcing. I played golf since I've been 10. And all over the world, I've been seeing a lot of different operations. The mayor's right. There are a lot of successful operators that come in and operate these golf courses. They privatize them and they do well. But as far as what Earl is talking about, the increase, we have two gyms for golf courses. One is pretty easy, flat. It really is a park, I think, Ray Park, but the other one is more of a championship course. Although it's aging, it's not really up there with the other championship courses. But I think golfers would rather pay a nominal fee increase. What is it, $750 now? $750 a season ticket? And if you went 20%, you're adding $150, something like that, so that you can play all.
So you see a 15% increase is not a...
I think is that what Earl proposed, or I don't know what, I think it was something like that, a revenue increase. You know, I know a lot of golfers, and they want to play golf because it's the only outlet socially, it's the only outlet that a lot of older folks
How
have.
do our fees compare to other municipalities?
Well, I lived in Evansville for 35 years, and they pay around $1,000.
And we're paying how much now?
We're paying $750. So I don't want to get in between,
No, and I know that, but you don't think that 50% would hurt us at all, as far as...
50% of...
50% increase.
Well, now I'm giving you my personal opinion. This is Mike's opinion. It's not an opinion of, I can't speak for all these guys, because when I go out to the course, they'll be on me like, you raise the...
Where we're at financially.
I do.
And I'd rather keep our golf courses, but
Yes.
we're going to have to make a change.
Yes, well, I think it has to do with the operations. Are they efficient? You know, a girl knows something about Allendale. You might want to look into how they're operating with the courses themselves, and maybe make some changes. Maybe instead of hiring somebody as a company to run them, maybe have a consultant come in and make some suggestions for the city employees. But the bottom line is, Terre Haute really has two outstanding courses. And, you know, Ray Park, we have a vision for it to be a full-service park. It's wonderful where it's situated. So anything we can do to alleviate the stress on the budget, keep the courses, I think it's a good thing. And I think if you pay $150 more, it depends on someone's perspective, their budget, you know, their income. A lot of them out there are on a fixed income. You know, we have a lot of seniors that play. So I don't know how they'd feel about it, but, you know, you got to do what you got to do so that you won't lose these courses. And,
Exactly.
you know, more golfers are going to help all of our courses in town and the health of our citizens.
The 6% cut and 15% raise, but we have to get the board.
You'll have to talk to the park board.
And I think they ought to be doing that within the next 2 months before the contracts, the bids are decided on. I just think we need to say yes or no to the bids and make these changes and keep our golf courses.
Councilman Crossen.
Yes, Mayor, you sent us a copy of the RFP request, and I appreciate that. It calls for a review committee. Is that committee functioning?
I'm sorry.
It calls for a review committee of the proposals that come in. Is that committee functioning?
Yeah, I mean, we reviewed Fagery BD has facilitated that, but we haven't taken it to the committee yet with the recommendation. That's
Okay,
the next step.
So who is the committee, or who's represented?
Let's see who's on there. Eddie Bird, Gordy, Gwen Hicks is a golfer. We had another golfer, I can't remember the name right now.
And so,
I apologize.
That's okay. I was more interested in what kinds of
Just
groups
a
were
mix.
represented. And when will you be taking, you say those are ready to go to them. When will they go to them?
We think we've answered all the follow-up questions with the vendor who stands out from the other ones. So I need to have a conference call with Fagery BD and make sure we've done all that before because the problem is if we decide not to negotiate with those particular folks, we don't want them to know what's in their proposal for the other three till we rule them all out. That's the tricky part, because they're all different. They're not the same. They're not the same proposals.
Well, I think...
We're getting to the end, though, because I think we've done everything we needed to do to answer their follow-up, where they wanted some new current data from this year, so we provided that and our staffing, current staffing.
Well, I think what you're hearing from some of us, anyway, and certainly for me, but in line with Councilman Morris's questions, is that we don't want to go into another budget year after this one and not have some substantial change in the golf course situation. We don't want to be here again next year basically having the same conversation. And I would like to see, I know we don't have control over that, but I think what you're hearing from us is, at least some of us, is that we'd like to see by the end of the year, either this RFP process presented to the committee and hopefully resolved, or the park board to take some action on fees. I think that the new season starting in 2018, if there was an action raising fees that went into effect on January 1, and by the time we're back here next summer starting to talk about the budget, we're going to know what kind of revenues that has increased, and then we can make some, you can and we can make some reasonable responses to the budget process by that. But I think what you're hearing from me is I think there needs to be a fee increase, and I would support the park board in doing that. And I yield.
Councilman Garrison.
A few things on I'm not really, wasn't really in a position tonight to take a position on pro golf, against golf, make reductions, whatever we're going to do, but I'm a little uncomfortable with this body getting involved in the green fees or the rates for golf courses. There's only, I think there's 2 of us that play golf. One of the things, we talk about this every year, and we've done this for a long time about golf courses, and I remember at one point, I don't know if it was Eddie Bird, but came forward and said that they've tried different rates through the different years, and when the rates go up, then we have fewer players. So just, although it sounds good, let's increase it by $8 or 6% or whatever, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have the same number of golfers return. And, you know, when golfers come to play golf, they don't just pay green fees. They pay for carts, they pay for food, they may hit buckets of balls. So there's additional revenue there. And if there are fewer people there to play, then there's less revenue. So I guess what I would suggest is if we're going to do that, and I'm not opposed to looking at some way to reduce that, I'd like to see us look at some numbers maybe over the last 10 years or the last 5 years of how many season ticket holders we've had through that period, number of green fees, number of cart rentals. I don't know if we make money on food and drinks, but if we did, what kind of revenue there is there, and look at those trends over a longer period of time, like 10 years, to see. I just think we need information before we make a reduction or an increase one way or the other. That's my thought.
Mr. President.
Councilman Nation.
Earl, if I remember the information that you sent us correctly, not this that we're looking at, but another document, your goal is to reduce the deficit under this plan with cutting the budget by 6% and seeking having the park board raise the rates by 15%. That would only cut the deficit by a half, right? Right. We're not talking about eliminating the deficit and making this all zero out and go away. We will, if we did this, we would continue to have a deficit all through next year, and we'd be facing the same set of decisions next year. Can you remind us, I remember reading something about, you compared it to the load that the parks carry as a whole department.
Yeah, the Parks Board budget's, what, 2.5 to 2.6 million, and they take in 400 and some thousand in revenue, so their net cost is about 2.1 million that's funded by property taxes. Well, it's reasonable to me that, golf should get some subsidy, so to speak, but $500,000 to me is a lot compared to 2.0 million or 2.1 million. $250,000 is a much more reasonable number compared to that $2.1 million. That's my rationale, because it is it is our citizens, and, they choose to do that rather than do, some of the other things.
Well, thanks for reminding us of that, like the paradigm that you put forward, because to me, that makes sense. And it's a way for this council to try to push that issue off the dime and get us forward a little bit. I note that under your the information that we have in front of us now, that 6% would be $82,700 in cuts total. Is that correct? I mean, I don't feel like I need, after sitting on the council for however many, 12 years, I don't feel like I need any more information. I support that today. I'll support it next month. I'll support it next year, because it's the first concrete proposal that I've seen that would allow the council to actually affect that situation, short of, just zeroing it out. And it makes sense to me. I yield.
Anything to add to that, Mayor?
I'm sorry?
Anything to add?
No, it's the pleasure of the council to do that.
Mayor, is there any chance, assuming that we don't make any decisions tonight, is there any chance that we could get some of those statistics I was talking about?
We've got overall data that goes back, I don't know how far, pretty far. I mean, 10 years probably, maybe longer. Some of the data about how many people buy season passes and carts and all that, we didn't have that computerized till a few years ago, so I'm not sure about breaking the numbers down. That part I can't guarantee, but the overall numbers we have.
Well,
and I think we've already got a lot of that data. We probably have it through 16, I think, and we would just need to update it with 17. I can show you a pretty good indicator of that. Now, if you wanted to tie that to, of course, there's economic, some years are better than others. We had a couple years ago, Holman Links burn up and nobody played golf all year out there,
Right.
So there's some factors in there.
Okay, I yield.
That was the end of those cuts.
Mr. President, just a reminder, you still have the proposed amendment submitted by the mayor last week that will need action. I would suggest doing it first, because those numbers are presented, and then you could do the second amendment.
I have a comment to Earl's question. Earl, I didn't send you any information this week. Some of the things I'd made clear, I thought, a little bit earlier, but just a blanket statement that I appreciate the work that you're doing, and I know that you and I have talked often on budgets, and I think we're pretty much in alignment that we're trying to make reductions where we can to be as efficient as possible. On a side note, since there's no, if we had new revenue coming in, I don't think we have to look at reductions as hard as we are now, but there's, as the mayor stated before, there's no new revenue coming in next year, so it kind of forces everybody to reduce spending in order to pay down some of this borrowing. But anyway, I think we're in line. Some of the things I do like, though, I like the reduction of the $2.4 million. I'm happy with that. If we can go beyond that, fantastic. I had said last month about what Terre Haute Competes had said, that we hold the spending on the firefighter budget, and it went up $125,000. I suggested that we not allow that to happen there. Not necessarily a hill I need to die on. It looks like the total that we're getting to are exceeding the $125,000, so does it really matter where it comes from? Not necessarily.
Take all the fire budgets and add them together, they're cut by $187,000.
So it didn't go up almost 1%, is that correct? You brought that down?
No. Yeah, that's what when you take all of them and look at comparing 17 to 18, it's reduced by $187,000.
Fantastic. The other one was, and I don't think I stated this publicly, was I don't think we should be giving raises this year really to anybody. Unfortunately, I know there are a lot of folks that haven't had raises in a long time, and I feel bad saying that, but I think if we're trying to address our problems, that's kind of my blanket thought for 18. And then the more I hear about spousal carve-out, I think that's something we need to make motions to do. Sounds like they're working towards that. So that's kind of my blank thing. I don't really go in line item by line item like we have tried with other members of the council, and I just I don't do that. I think you do a fantastic job, Earl, so I would encourage you to keep doing that. Anyway, that's kind of my comments to you, Earl. So keep up good work. I yield.
I did have a question regarding the revenue difference that you and Earl had, and you had said that Humboldt was the one that provided that amount for the revenue, and you and Leslie and Scott kind of disagreed on that amount?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel pretty good about that number. I really do, Earl. I think we'll be okay. It's not inflated because they came up with, I didn't even know they had done that. We just went back and reviewed everything. All the revenues. We went back through everything just to take a look at this year and just see what we think is going to happen or not happen. And so I feel pretty good about the revenues.
So I guess that goes back to my question regarding having multiple people. So we're going to trust Scott Walker, who's not a CPA, over Humboldt Associates, that is.
Humboldt Associates put the comprehensive financial plan together. So as they were doing that, they always come up with the initial guidance. They look at all of our revenues, especially the property tax areas. They look at the MVH, LRS. They do all that work with the state level. So they do, and then they put out some information to us. And then we have to take that and go through it and make sure they haven't missed anything. And I think we found a couple things only that we changed. So when you look at all the revenues, there's a couple of areas that we did a little bit differently, and we told Paige, and she's going to update the comprehensive financial plan. And so when you guys get your next copy, it'll all match up, as Earl and I have talked about. We get 17 matched up and then the 18 budget, so that'll be a good thing.
Okay.
And that happens every year. I mean, they come in and they lay something out in front of us, and then we have to vet it.
Vet it or follow it?
Both. It all depends. Some we follow because it's easy, it's straightforward, there isn't any fluctuations. Other things have fluctuations that they can't possibly know.
Okay.
Let me just talk about the total miscellaneous revenue for the general fund. The 2017 budget was $14.4 million. When I take the July 1 to December 31 total, 7.7 that's in the budget, and add 6.9 million for the first 6 months of the year actual, I get 14.6. So it's just 200,000 more. But then the 2018 budget, which I didn't talk about, it's back down to 14.4. So I don't have a problem with 2018. That's just that change that for last half of 2017 between the two Form 2s that I wanted to change.
Okay. Well, and
I'm not going to propose any changes.
Okay. And we'll just monitor it, but I wouldn't have been able to answer that had I not gone back through that myself, because let's figure it out.
Okay.
Okay. We need
To vote on Dukes first.
Yeah.
Yes, right. There's no questions about what we gave you last week, the Form 1 changes. That would be the First Amendment.
Right.
Mr. President, did you ever ask for public comment?
Thank you. Get a little distracted here. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
I did.
You did. Nobody came up.
But I will ask again, does anybody like to speak on appropriation 6, 2017? Welcome.
My name is Donald Hyde, and this time wow. First time I've went through all this, but I did have a few questions, and I think you guys missed them yourselves, or otherwise I wouldn't have to ask this. Or you didn't explain it well to the public in this room and to the public taxpayers that will listen to this tape forever. Here's question number 1. You mentioned something about a fund that you had to keep in case some accident occurred. Now, I don't know much, but as long as I've been alive and a member of the city of Terre Haute, even as a youth, I was informed that the city had to have insurance for that. Now, has the insurance contracts gotten so complicated that we pay city taxes, county taxes, and state taxes, and school board taxes for insurance against accidents happening, and then we're not covered at all, and we still end up paying, so we're double dipped? Or am I missing something here? Or have you not explained that personally? That's one thing. The second thing I'd like to comment on is the golf courses. I agree we shouldn't get rid of the golf courses, but I also wonder why, if the city owns the land and the golf courses, why this city council can't call Mr. Byrd here to explain himself. Because we are in charge of those golf courses. And the way it seems to me, the problem is, for 5 straight years of them losing money, is how they're running the golf courses. It's not the amount you charge for the golf fees. It's how you get in golf tournaments, how you advertise you have a golf course, how you go and spend a few bucks on taking pictures of the golf courses and set up, and how you get somebody that knows things about golf and how to get interest going. And also, again, I keep having to fall back on this, that now I with the golf courses, it's not only do we have 5 colleges here, okay, 5 colleges, but if you're going to toss in the golf courses, you got to also add the Bible County schools. That's 6 different school identities. There should be no way you're losing money on those golf courses, because there's no end to the people who could play golf, would want to play golf if they were encouraged and shown how. I'm sorry, but there's no way you guys should get rid of them golf courses, but at the same token, there's no way you shouldn't get somebody down here to explain what's going on and come up with a plan to make it better. And that's all the questions I got now, because I still got to think about all the other stuff I heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak on Appropriation 6, 2017? Council?
Sorry, President Nasser, I was pretty focused on getting answers to everything that I wanted to get answered. If I understood Michelle correctly, the first thing we need to do is deal with these changes that they proposed, the mayor proposed last week. And how do we deal with them?
You should just, someone should make a motion to amend Appropriation 6, 2017 as presented, and then someone makes a second, because we have it in writing and it was submitted last week.
I'm not really very good at these things, but I would propose an amendment to Appropriation 6, 2018 to reflect the Form 17 to reflect the Form 1 changes presented by the administration last week.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Elliott, second by Councilman Nation, that we amend Appropriation 6, 2017 as presented. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Amendment carries.
Now the fun part.
Mr. President?
If I may, Mr. President. We do have a copy of the email you had sent out, Mr. Elliott, and we just want to confirm the dollar amounts in case anything changes, or are you keeping it the same?
So which dollar amounts?
Well, I would just like to read them off, and then you can just confirm the dollar amount. Would that be okay?
Okay, some of them have changed.
Right, and that's why it's going to have you confirm. So your proposed amendment will be to amend the general fund for data processing instruction and change, I need the new total amount, not the amount you're reducing it, but what you want it to be.
The in-processing instruction should be deleted.
So you want it...
We're not going to make that change.
Okay, so you're not making that change at all. Okay, so the next one is general and engineering, electrical inspector.
$18,022.
Is the new total for that line.
I'm sorry, that's the new deduction amount.
Okay, so the total for the line is still 18, yeah, okay, we're doing half. General engineering, employer social security.
The deduction is $3,000.
Okay, so our new total will be $25,150.
Correct.
Okay, general engineering, group health,
Deduction $5,000.
so it'll be $102,000 as the new total.
Correct.
Okay, general engineering employer perf,
Deduction's $2,000.
so $41,250.
Correct.
Okay, in the general fund, also fire department, medical, surgical, dental,
Okay, as is.
so $10,000.
$10,000 reduction.
So the new total will be $55,000.
Correct.
General police, so, school security,
The deduction is $15,000.
so the new total will be $175,000.
Correct.
Edit, sidewalks,
Deduction's $1,000, or $100,000.
okay, so there'll be a $400,000
Correct.
new total, okay? And cemetery services contractual,
That deduction's $10,000.
so the new total is
13.
13,000, thank you. And engineering non-reverting cell phone,
The rest are all unchanged as presented.
so the new amount for that. So if I may read from the beginning just to confirm? Is that okay? I'm just going to,
Okay. The cell phone, the deduction is $7,000. I'm sorry.
no, that's fine. What I'd like, well, he said there's no change on the remainders. Are we doing anything on Holman Links and Ray Park as well? Okay, so if I may make a suggestion, on this page, if Mr. Elliott would like me to, I will read all of them into record, and then he can make the motion.
Sounds good.
Is that okay, Mr. Elliott? Or would you like to read them? Okay. So, general fund engineering electrical inspector, the new budgeted amount will be $18,022. General fund engineering department, employer social security, I'm sorry, I need to back up. Mr. Felling is telling me I forgot to read the account number. So I'll start again. General fund engineering department, electrical inspector, account number 412.031. The new total is $18,022. General fund engineering department, employer social security, fund number 413.010. The new total is $25,150. General engineering department, group health, fund number 413030. The new total is $102,000. General engineering employer perf, fund number 413060. The new fund total is $41,250. General fund fire department, medical, surgical, dental, fund number 432060. The new total is $55,000. General fund police department, so school security, fund number 432006. The new total is $175,000. Edit fund sidewalks, fund number 436040. The new total is $400,000. Cemetery fund services contractual, number 432010. The new total is $13,000. Engineering non-reverting cell phone, fund number 412250. The new fund total is $8,000. Fire pension fund, death benefits line 413.090, account number, the new fund total is $50,000. Parks and Recreation Fund, workers' compensation, fund number 435010, the new fund total is $10,000. Parks and Recreation Services Contractual Fund number 432010. The new fund total, line total is $55,000. Transit Fund, Gas Utility, Fund number, line number 436020. The new line total is $9,000. Wastewater Treatment, Gasoline, line number 422010. The new line total is $60,000. Wastewater Treatment, Diesel Fuel, line number 422020. The new line total is $55,000. Wastewater treatment grease supplies, number 422130, the new total is $500. Wastewater treatment workers' compensation, 435010, the new total is $75,000. Is that correct?
Yes.
And you make that motion?
I make that motion that to
Amend appropriation 6.
Appropriation 6, 2017, to make those budget reductions resulting in the new amounts as Michelle had just read them.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Councilman Elliott, second by Councilman Morris, that we amend the amended appropriation 6, 2017. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Concerning the golf courses, I'm not going to propose those cuts. We can deal with that later. My preference would be to have conversation with the park board about the entire situation first.
President Nasser, do you have all the amendments made to the budget then?
Yes.
So we're looking for approval of appropriation 6 as amended, correct? I would like to make the motion to approve appropriation 6, 2017, based on the amendments presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Garrison, second by Councilwoman Aller, that we approve the amended appropriation 6, 2017. Roll call, Michelle, please.
Councilwoman Aller.
Yes.
Councilwoman Crossan.
Yes.
Councilman DeBon.
Yes.
Councilman Elliott.
Yes.
Councilman Garrison.
Yes.
Councilman Morris.
Yes.
Councilman Nation.
Yes.
Councilman Nasser.
Yes.
That's 8 yes.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you. We are going to take a 5-minute break. We'll be back here in about 5 minutes. Gives our controller an opportunity to start entering our budget upstairs. So we'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Next order of business, Michelle, please.
Special Ordinance 36, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for City Hall employees.
Council, Lenny Filling, City Attorney. In an effort to attempt to expedite this, I'll be happy to answer any questions on each one of these individually, but as a brief overview of Special Ordinances 36 through 48, which is about the next 12 items on your agenda, I would note that other than one change in the City Hall budget on one specific item, there are no substantial changes that are different from this current 2017 salary ordinance. And again, it's always possible that we may request an amendment at some point. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 36, 2017? Councilman DeBon?
Yeah, I was just going to ask that you remind us which ordinance had the change.
It is Special 36, the one we would be currently voting on.
Okay. Thanks, I yield.
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
there's no further questions. I move that we approve Special Ordinance 36, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Morris, that we approve Special Ordinance 36, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next order of business, please.
Special Ordinance 37, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for MVH Street Department.
Petitioner?
And again, I don't need to speak on each one of these. If there are any questions of me going through the rest of these, I'd be happy to answer.
Anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 37, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
there's no further questions. I move we approve Special Ordinance 37, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilwoman Crossan, that we approve Special Ordinance 37, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next order of business, please.
Special Ordinance 38, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for Transit Department.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 38, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
there's no further questions. I move we approve Special Ordinance 38, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilwoman Crossen, that we approve Special Ordinance 38, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next
Special Ordinance
please.
39, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for Parks Department.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 39, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
no further questions. I'd like to approve Special Ordinance 39, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Garrison, that we approve Special Ordinance 39, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Special Ordinance 40, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for Cemetery Department.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 40, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
there's no further questions. I move that we approve Special Ordinance 40, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Garrison, that we approve Special Ordinance 40, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Special Ordinance 41, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for Wastewater Department.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 41, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
there's no further questions. I'd like to approve Special Ordinance 41, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Garrison, that we approve Special Ordinance 41, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Special Ordinance 42, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for police civilian employees.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 42, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
if there's no further questions, I move that we approve Special Ordinance 42, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Garrison, that we approve Special Ordinance 42, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Special Ordinance 43, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for the Police Department.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 43, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
if there's no further questions, I move that we approve Special Ordinance 43, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Garrison, that we approve Special Ordinance 43, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Special Ordinance 44, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for Fire Department.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 44, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
I move that we approve Special Ordinance 44, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Garrison, that we approve Special Ordinance 44, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Special Ordinance 44, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for Fire Department.
This needs amendment.
I don't know.
45.
Special Ordinance 45, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for the Mayor.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 45, 2017?
Just to be clear, there was a mistake. The mayor made a comment at the Sunshine meeting that there was a change to his budget. That is not accurate. The way it works, that was the change that was in the City Hall budget. So there's no amendment to this.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 45, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
if there's no further questions, I move that we approve Special Ordinance 45, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Garrison, that we approve Special Ordinance 45, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Special Ordinance 46, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for the council.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 46, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
if there's no further questions, I move that we approve Special Ordinance 46, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Garrison, that we approve Special Ordinance 46, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Special Ordinance 47, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for the city court judge.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 47, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
if there's no further questions, I move that we approve Special Ordinance 47, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Garrison, that we approve Special Ordinance 47, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Special Ordinance 48, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for the city clerk.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 48, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilwoman Aller?
if there's no further questions, I move that we approve Special Ordinance 48, 2017.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Garrison, that we approve Special Ordinance 48, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Special
Thanks.
Ordinance 49, 2017, rezoning of property located at 3116 through 3120 East Park Avenue and a vacant lot east of Park Avenue and vacant lots on North Clinton Street. Area Planning gave a favorable with conditions recommendation.
Petitioner to speak on this, please.
Yes, Mr. President, fellow members of council, my name is Richard Shagg. I'm here tonight representing the petitioner, Steve Reedy. As we discussed last week, this is a little bit of a cleanup. He's requesting that 2 of these parcels be rezoned from M1 to C2, and the 3 that are R1 be rezoned to C2. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have this evening.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 49, 2017? Council?
President Nasser.
Councilman Garrison?
If there are no questions, I move to approve Special Ordinance 49, 2017 as presented.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Garrison, second by Councilman Morris, that we approve Special Ordinance 49, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Special Ordinance 50, 2017, approving the issuance and sale of special taxing district bonds of the Terre Haute Sanitary District. It has been requested this be tabled until the November Sunshine Meeting.
Council, Eddie Felling, City Attorney. Again, just to reiterate what Michelle's requested and what we asked the council last week is we provided that packet to you that we promised. It is in the packet. I know we said that a couple of times last week. A lot of information in there. I think it's really, really beneficial for all of you to have that in front of you, especially if you're willing to table this until next month. A couple of the key things I would point out, I mean, I really think everything's important, but just to kind of go through generally what our sections go over, it's separated. We have a map of obviously what the project is. We have a cost section that sets forth from a couple of different individuals or companies that are involved with this project, how we got to where we are today and why those changes occurred. In the middle of your binder, you'll have the legal concerns, and that's really one thing. If you don't look at anything else, I mean, I know you all will, but read and maybe even reread. The complaint isn't as important, but the agreed judgment, I think, is, so that we all really have a good, thorough understanding of how we got to where we are today with regards to the long-term control plan. Following that up, we have some information from both IDEM and the SRF, and then at the end, just really to have something to compare to. There are other cities other than Evansville where I just printed off right off of the Clean Water Act. They've created a separate website that the EPA's got put together that every single city that's ever had a civil judgment brought against them is listed. And I just picked 4 of the larger fines and penalties of Indiana cities that have gotten into trouble with the Clean Water Act. And again, it's something to at least look at. As far as today goes, Mr. Ennis is here with me. If there were any follow-up questions from last week, either him or I would be, we'll do our best to get those questions answered tonight. I would ask, though, have a look at that packet. There's a really good contacts list in the front as well. We tried to pick one person from each type of department, so we weren't calling multiple people, say with CHA, know that you're getting consistent answers. If anybody'd like to set up a meeting with anybody in that contact list between now and next month, we'd be happy to do that. And in the interim, if you do have questions, please follow up prior to or even at the upcoming council meetings. At our November Sunshine, we'll have some additional professionals here from UMBLA, from Bose McKinney, from CHA. So we'll have a whole panel here. If you don't get those questions asked between now and then, or answered between now and then, they will be on hand to do that at that point. So that being said, Chuck or I would be happy to answer any questions you have.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 50, 2017? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Donald Hyde. I live at 1411 Poplar Street. I've lived there for a long time, and I've lived in Vigo County for my entire life of 63 years. I get my finally asked question not just of you, the council, but of the so-called experts that have been brought here. I have lived here when our water problems were truly, truly polluted to the point where I literally was part of a campaign to clean it up and did so. I'm not understanding why a former campaigner against water pollution personally believes that the water that we're getting now is cleaner than it's been in my lifetime. That you now come across saying that we're more polluted. Though I will give you this, and this is the question I have for both the council and the experts. Somehow, some way, with the Industrial Revolution tipping and going away, with the pollution in the water being brought down because less pollution was going into the water in the 60s and the 70s, the air quality was kept and improved since the 90s when the BFS plant didn't get to be built here and burned and all that put up there. And yet, for some reason, I have noticed, because I live at Poplar Street, I've noticed when I collect rain off my roof or when I collect it in a bucket, it's not pure anymore. Here's the problem I have with you, sir, and I say this as a citizen and, just basically an ignorant citizen, that you're not enlightened. Okay?
If you could address the council.
What's causing the pollution? Because whatever it is, it can't be seen. So that only holds three things it could be. There is something being sent up into the air that's hanging up there, and then when it rains, it comes down to the ground. I'm not smelling, breathing, or there's any evidence of something that is new doing that. The other problem would be in the irrigation. We are, Vigo County, we're one of the breadbaskets of the state, if not the country. Are they using new pesticides that, I'm ignorant, I'm not up on the new technology, so they could be something new that they're putting in the food or they're putting in the ground to grow the food and double the crops. Is that what the problem is? But if that is the problem, how are we only seeing it materialize when it rains? So I have a lot of questions, but I don't think I'm alone. I think that the public of Vigo County as a whole and all the taxpayers have fair questions, that before you do anything, raise any taxes, do any program at all, you need to explain to the public why. I think that's a fair question. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public that would like to speak on Special Ordinance 50, 2017? Please state your name and address for the record, please.
Hi, my name is Rick Ward, live in Hubside, Indiana. Just the follow-up question that I had last week at the Sunshine meeting, I didn't know if in that packet you addressed, I'd asked a question. If you looked at the cost of keeping the site at the original location instead of moving it, because there was like a $14 million upcharge for moving it, were you able to find those numbers to see if it was actually cheaper to have the city pay for the costs of the removal of the contaminated dirt and keep it where the original site was? Did you find those numbers by chance?
Well, there's not a number per se right now, and we're in the process of possible litigation on that matter. I don't know if Mr. Ennis can answer that more clearly than I can. I think that a cleanup process with the amount of contamination that's over there at the site is pretty extensive, and it's not, with the schedule that we're on, I don't know that it's even possible to do it in that time frame. Chuck, I don't know if...
The relocation of the main, Chuck Ennis, city engineer, the relocation of the main lift station from a lower elevation to the current siting is the result of a couple of factors. The contaminated site is one of them for sure. The other one is we're moving it out of the floodplain. It's, as Debbie Paget will tell you, it's rather inconvenient to have a main lift station in underwater when you need to service it. So we're moving it up on the hill. So we're getting it out of the floodplain. Because of the getting it out of the floodplain, we're moving it off of the contaminated site. So there's several factors in relocating the facility.
Council, I'd like to ask a couple questions on this. My concern has always been the credibility of us issuing this bond. We can go back to 2012 when we increased sewer rates, and we were told that we were going to need to increase sewer rates for the next 20 years. Then we have a discussion last year to increase sewer rates that we were told that it was going to be a $42 million project, and then we were told we were going to have to raise sewer rates 33%, 25%, 17%, 15%, 16%, then it finally ended up being 21%. During those discussions, we were never told that that was a figure that, may change. It was always that was the figure that it was going to be. Then last month, on the 14th, we had a brief conversation about why the prices increased, and not once were we told last month that it had to do with the contamination of soil or with the fact that IDEMS asked us to increase the capacity. So my question is, why are we repeatedly having this?
You were most certainly told about the contaminated soil last week.
Last month. On the 14th.
I can't speak to that.
I know last week we were, but last month, when Chuck was originally before the council, we were not told about the contamination. So it goes back to what did we know and when did we know it? When did we know that we had a contamination issue?
Approximately 2 years. Or, excuse me, 1 year.
So Chuck, when I asked you last month about that, why the prices increased, why did you mention that last month?
The contaminated soil is just one component of the entire design. The relocation of the plant, of the facility, like I said, is, yes, it's in contaminated soil. We're moving it out of the contaminated soil. We're moving it out of the floodplain. We're moving it onto a site that will be more convenient. Yes, the site we're moving it off of is contaminated. The other part of that, there's some piping associated with this project. We are rerouting the piping around the contaminated site. Now, if you're running 1,000 feet of pipe here, or if you're running 1,200 feet of pipe around it, yes, there's going to be an incremental cost increase.
Well, we discussed the contamination was $14 million of the increase in cost last week is what we were told. That $14 million consists of that. So my question is why were we not told that last month when we originally asked why the cost is doubled? If we knew about this for 2 years.
We didn't get, and if I recall that last month's meeting when we began this discussion, I think the council cut us off when we had quite a few professionals here to provide a lot of that information. With regard, going back so we can answer all the questions, with regard to the rate increase, I think it's clear, and I think you'll hear UMBA say, that we will not need to do another rate increase because of this bond. But every fiscally responsible municipality that owns a sewer system should do a rate study every 3 to 4 years, and that possibly will include an increase in sewer rates. And that's because operating costs go up. You have inflation and everything else, and that's something that should happen. And we went a long time here in Terre Haute without having that additional increase or rate study. So that will be coming. Will it be coming as a direct result of this bond? Based upon what UMBA, I'm sure, will tell you next month? No.
Okay, so again, why were we not told about the contamination on the 14th?
I can't answer that specifically. You have that in front of you now. We're not asking you to vote on it this evening.
Okay.
And if you have any questions about the contamination, everybody's open to answer those questions specifically.
Okay.
It wasn't purposely withheld from this council.
Okay. Well, I know it wasn't purposely withheld. I guess my frustration is that the conversation keeps changing. Before it was that the administration was just as surprised as anybody that the cost is doubled. but then we're getting told of two parts of the project that has increased it by $20 million. So I guess what we're trying to understand is why were we not told that originally last month? Or if you knew about the contaminated soil for 2 years.
We didn't get very far in our conversation last month. I mean, again, we were addressing generally why we had such an increase in price. And that's why we had the engineering firm that was here. That's why we had Mr. Rodden. That's why we had Umbaugh here to answer those questions. All of those individuals are available to answer those questions. You have a really good packet in front of you. We're going to have a month to answer anything you want. And I really, at this point, we took, again, going back to what we did last week, we wanted to take a step back and really zoom out on the picture, because when we had that initial conversation a month ago, it was right into the number. Nothing to do about how we got to where we were or why change, why this changed, why that changed. But there are a lot of factors. I mean, location is just one of them. One of many factors.
Last question I'll have is, I know I'm not comparing this to building a house or building something or doing any remodeling at your house, but most of the times you get multiple estimates or multiple quotes. Did we just get one for this project?
Well, I think Chuck can answer that. I mean, we have an engineering firm that we hired to do this project.
Just one?
Well, yeah, several engineering, and you want to explain the process?
I'll give it a shot. About a year ago, we started on a selection committee for selecting the engineer to design this facility. We have a committee together. We took requests for qualification. We sent out a request for qualifications, different engineering firms. I think we had about 10 submittals. Committee comes together, scores the submittals. The firm with the highest number wins. They're the ones that are selected. We negotiate a contract with them. This instance happened to be CHA. We've used them before. We don't have an exclusive with them. They're one of several engineering firms that we deal with. So that is how the engineering firm is selected. There's a lot of confusion on competitive bidding, but engineering firms are selected. This is the process that NDOT recognizes. This is the process that we use on all our big projects. Now, the numbers, we all seem to be getting hung up on these numbers. These numbers are estimates. The numbers that we're dealing with are engineers' estimates. Okay? Back in 2011, HWC was putting our long-term control plan together. The $21 million for the main lift station was their estimate, their engineer's estimate, with very little knowledge on size of pumping, the facilities, the equipment inside, the location, the depth. They're basically taking a real step back and a real rough estimate as to what the cost would be. Now, what CHA is doing, they've done the design, they've done the basis of design step, the preliminary engineering step in figuring out what the cost estimate is. And they're the ones that generated the cost estimate that we're looking at right now for this bond. So yeah, they're going in with a whole lot more information than CHA had 6 years ago. They know the depth, they know the location, they know the type of soils that we're going to be dealing with, they know the pump capacities, they know the type of pumping system that we're going to use. There are several features in this lift station that HWC did not include in their original estimate. That's why the numbers are significantly different. But these are engineers' estimates. We've hired an engineer to put these together. When it comes down to bidding, and that's what I'd like Dennis to address next month, we're going to take the contractor's bid. Now, that's where you get your competitive bids. So there'll be several contractors bidding on the project. That will be your best idea of what the cost of this thing is going to be, is when those bids come in. It's only then is when we're going to go and actually sell the bonds. We're not going to sell the bonds with this action next month. We're going to wait till the design is complete, the drawings are done, the bids are received, then we're going to go out and get the money, and only the money we need to build that project. So, okay, go ahead.
Sorry, as a quick follow-up to that, you have a $70 million bond proposal in front of you. That doesn't mean we're going to go sell a $70 million bond. That is a maximum amount, so that we have the authority, once those numbers come in, to go sell a bond for whatever the exact amount is for the project cost. And we're estimating it's going to be, I wouldn't say well below $70 million, but it'll be below $70 million. If you recall, the last bond we had an issue with, one of the council's concerns had to do with the interest rate. I think Councilman Elliott brought that up. It's a maximum. So it's just, the purpose of it is so that we have one single bond issuance. We would never want to go over that number. If we had to do multiple bond issuances, it would cause a problem. It would be more expensive. So I'm greatly anticipating, and I'm not an engineering expert, but based on what the conversations I've had with these gentlemen, is that it's going to be, at least $5 million, probably less than what's been proposed to you.
Why wouldn't we get the bids before we do the bond issuance?
Chuck, I don't know if you can.
Remember, there are two bonds. There's the bond for the design, and then there's the bond for the construction. I'll let Dennis speak to this, but his strategy that we need approval for the construction bond before SRF will give us the bond for the design. Okay? If we went in and asked for the design, the money for the design, the SRF wouldn't give it to us without this bond already, without the council's action. Now, that process will allow CHA to get the complete set of drawings together, the complete design package together, and only when those are done can you get a real accurate estimate. We can't get the estimate first and then do the design, because the bidders aren't going to know what they're bidding. They're not going to know exactly how deep the foundations are, how thick the walls are, how much steel you've got in it. That's what the drawings and what the design will show you.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah.
Councilman Nation.
Guys, thanks for this packet and for trying to field these questions. I've visited this site a number of times while the high-rate treatment facility was under construction, and before that, back when it was still the IP property and then the Western Tar property too. And I've gone down and looked at the existing main lift station, which I never knew was there. And it's a great big structure. I noticed that this map helps me a lot. I always like maps. And I noticed that when you move this big lift station from the floodplain and put it up on the hill, it's going to be basically right at the fork in the road, right?
A little north of the fork, yeah.
A little north of the fork, yeah. And this may be a secondary issue for a lot of people, but I remember getting really excited about a previous iteration of this plan that involved the park and turning the lagoons that had formerly been for IP into, some kind of like a pond that people want to hike around and all that. Can you give me any idea of how big this structure is going to be that is going to be there at the top of the hill? Will it look like the current one? Will it be mostly underground?
It'll be mostly underground. I've got the drawings up in my office. I don't remember exactly the footprint of the building. One of the huge components in the cost was the depth, because as we're moving it out of the floodplain, the bottom basically has to stay the same depth. So as you're moving it up the hill, the excavation just gets significantly deeper. We're looking at about a 50-foot hole in the ground to put this building in. But it's not going to stick out of the ground significantly like the other one. Part of the reason the old one is so tall is to get it above the flood elevation. We're moving it up the hill, but it's not going to project out of the ground like the old one does.
Chuck, I think that probably the best use of the council's time is for me to just come up and take a look at that.
Anytime.
In your office. Thank you very much. I yield.
President Nasser.
Councilman Garrison.
Thanks, Chuck, and Mr. Felling for preparing this. Looks like there's interest already from the council, and I trust we'll look at that this month and call you or email you with questions. Look forward to a broader discussion next month. So if there's no other discussion, I move to table Special Ordinance 50, 2017.
Second.
Discussion. Councilman Elliott.
I've just got one question. Somebody explain to me why we were planning to build it in the floodplain in the first place?
The old one's there.
It does work. I mean, obviously, we've had that one there since 1962. So again, if you look at your cost difference, I don't know what the right answer would be. If the soil wasn't contaminated, I would have to guess we'd probably leave it where it was because of that huge increase in cost. With the soil issues that we have, we are getting an additional benefit out of it, obviously not being located in the floodplain.
Does this map show where we were going to build the new one?
No, it doesn't.
Okay, so what was the proposed main lift station site number 1? Where was that?
I don't recall.
Huh?
I don't recall. I'll have to go back and look at the long-term control
Well, I
plan.
mean, it seems like I would have expected that to have been on this map. That's what I'm saying.
I'll have to find the
I mean,
long-term
I see
control
where
plan
existing
site.
main lift station is, I see where proposed one is, but I was just curious where and I see apparently these red lines are the areas that are the contaminated, the red dashed
Yes.
lines. So, okay. Was it real close to the existing one?
It's between where the current one is intended to go and the existing one.
Okay.
It's kind of in between. It's kind of in between.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. President,
Councilman Nation.
if I may, one other thing, Earl. You've already found the existing lift station, and that's important. But then that blue dashed line that zigs and zags over and goes, it looks like under the interstate, or between the lanes of the interstate, and then ties into the big main green line. That is all going, because you relocated the main lift station, those pipes all get relocated too. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that has to incur extra cost too.
Okay. Thank you.
I yield.
Hey, it's been moved by Councilman Garrison.
Mr.
second-
President, I'm sorry, if we could just mention that it's going to be tabled into the Sunshine meeting in November.
That's correct.
Okay, it's been moved by Councilman Nation, second by Councilwoman Aller, that we table Special Ordinance 50, 2017 to our Sunshine meeting in November. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's tabled. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Next
Special
order of
Ordinance
business, please.
51, 2017, the 2018 salary ordinance for city redevelopment.
Petitioner to speak on this, please.
Good evening, Steve Witt, Redevelopment Department. I went through this last week, our first ever salary ordinance, so we're glad to answer any questions.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 51, 2017? Council?
President Nasser.
Councilman Garrison?
Approve Special Ordinance 51, 2017 as presented.
Second. It's been moved by Councilman Garrison, second by Councilman Nation, that we approve Special Ordinance 51, 2017. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Special Ordinance 52, 2017, rezoning of property located at 418, 426, and 430 South 8th Street, and 806, 812, 818, and 822 Oak Street. Area planning give a favorable with conditions recommendation.
Petitioner to speak on this, please.
Good evening. My name is Rick Ward, Hofstad, Indiana. I spoke to you last week at the Sunshine meeting, and this is the zoning to match the R3 zoning of the main house at 812 Oak Street, the R1 zoning at 822 Oak Street. The rest of the lots are currently R2 zoning. I'm standing by to answer any questions you still may have.
Is there anyone from the public that'd like to speak on Special Ordinance 52, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilman Morris?
Move to approve special ordinance 52, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Morris, second by Councilwoman Aller, that we approve special ordinance 52, 2017. Roll call, Michelle, please.
Councilwoman Aller.
Yes.
Councilwoman Crossan.
Yes.
Councilman DeBon.
Yes.
Councilman Elliott.
Yes.
Councilman Garrison.
Yes.
Councilman Morris.
Yes.
Councilman Nation.
No.
Councilman Nasser.
Yes.
That is 7 yes, 1 no.
Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next order of business, please.
Resolution 20, 2017, adopting a community and redevelopment plan and recognizing Warren Village 2 effort to revitalize the target area.
Petitioner, speak on this, please. Thanks for waiting.
Someone has to be near the end.
Okay.
Cheryl Sharp with Milestone Ventures. I'm here on behalf of the Low Income Housing Development Corporation of Terre Haute, and requesting that adoption of the community and redevelopment plan that has been developed, and recognizing that Warren Village 2 project by the Low Income Housing Development Corporation of Terre Haute fulfills the plan. Happy to answer any questions.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on Resolution 20, 2017? Council?
Mr. President,
Councilman Nation?
if there are no further questions, I move that we approve Resolution Number 20, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilman Nation, second by Councilwoman Crossan, that we approve Resolution 20, 2017. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck. Hopefully it works out this time. Next order of business, please.
Resolution 21, 2017, authorizing the designation of Washington Avenue from 3rd Street to Brown Avenue as Bishop Jester Purnell Way.
Petitioner, speak on this again. Thanks for waiting.
Glenn Purnell, Mr. President, and the rest of the council members. Certainly, thank you in advance again for your time and consideration of this, and here to answer any questions before it's voted upon.
Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on Resolution 21, 2017? Council?
Mr. President?
Councilwoman Crossan?
Yes, I just say that I would like to ask my fellow council people to support this resolution. As you can see, there are a lot of fine people here from this church, and they're celebrating their 100th anniversary. I know this is an exception to the moratorium that is currently in place, but it is specific to this particular special situation, and I would ask for your support. If there are no further questions from the council on it, I would move adoption of Resolution 21, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved by Councilwoman Crossan, second by Councilman Nation, that we approve Resolution 21, 2017. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Good luck, folks.
Thank you, City Council.
Looking
Thank
forward
you.
to your celebration in November.
Mr. President, also, if I kind of had envisioned that either yourself or one of the members of the City Council would be present on that Sunday, November 12th, to present that. We would be honored if you would give consideration, and everybody is invited to attend the service.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Before we go into new business, just to remind the council, we need to stick around and sign forms from Leslie. So, new business, Michelle.
General Ordinance 9, 2017, amending City Code, Chapter 7, Article 3, Fire Prevention Code, and Chapter 2, Article 9, Funds and Fiscal Procedures.
Governmental Affairs.
Appropriation 8, 2017, $22,762 from edit number 0404 to demo of unsafe buildings, number 432018.
Finance.
Appropriation 9, 2017, $17,375.06 from General Fund 0101 to Police Repair Services, number 423015 for $10,000, and to Vehicle Repair and Maintenance 437030 for $7,375.06.
Finance.
Appropriation 10, 2017, $96,622.44 from General Fund 0101 to Police Overtime, number 412129.
Finance.
Appropriation 11, 2017, $4,640 from edit number 0404 to demo of unsafe buildings, number 432018.
Finance.
Appropriation 12, 2017, $30,208 from edit number 0404 to demo of unsafe buildings, number 432018.
Finance.
Appropriation 13, 2017, $20,603.43 from General Fund 0101 to EPD part-time employees, number 412105 for $6,000, to overtime number 412129 for $4,000, to operating supplies number 422005 for $4,000, to gasoline number 422010 for $3,373, and to repair supplies number 423015 for $2,000, and to services contractuals 432010 for $1,230.43.
Finance.
Appropriation 14, 2017, $2,129 from edit number 0404 to demo of unsafe buildings number 432018.
Finance.
Appropriation 15, 2017, $1,700 from edit number 0404 to demo of unsafe buildings number 432018.
Finance.
Appropriation 16, 2017, $315,000 from rainy day fund number 0200 to police pension fund number 391.021.
Finance.
Appropriation 17, 2017, $445,000 from transit number 0621 to operating supplies number 422005 for $45,000, to gasoline number 422010 for $75,000, to diesel fuel number 422020 for $65,000, to repair supplies number 423015 for $60,000, to workers' comp number 435010 for $35,000, to principal notes number 439178 for $105,000, to purchase of equipment number 444010 for $5,000, and to capital maintenance number 444135 for $55,000.
Finance.
Appropriation 18, 2017, $36,515.27 from rainy day fund number 0200 to Parks and Recreation fund number 391021.
Finance.
Appropriation 19, 2017, $89,000 from Parks Non-Reverting Project Fund number 0742 to improvements number 443020 for $5,000, to purchase of equipment number 444010 for $15,000, to purchase of office equipment number 444040 for $1,000, to purchase of playground equipment number 444060 for $20,000, and to principal notes number 439178 for $48,000.
Finance.
Appropriation 20, 2017, $1,114,500 from EMS Fund number 0270 to firefighter number 41210 for $1 million, to longevity number 412090 for $100,000, and to Medicare number 413020 for $14,500.
Finance.
Appropriation 21, 2017, $150,000 from CCD Fund number 0402 to services contractual number 432010.
Finance.
Appropriation 22, 2017, $2,273,000 from edit number 0404 to special events number 432025 for $69,000, to services contractuals number 432010 for $1,193,000, to operating supplies number 422005 for $376,000, and to utilities number 436.000 for $635,000.
Finance.
Appropriation 23, 2017, $5 million from General Fund number 0101 to Patrolman number 412058 for $2,981,696. To Employer Police Retirement number 413010 for $1,750,000, and to Employer Group Health number 413030 for $268,304.
Finance.
Special Ordinance 43, 2017, rezoning of property located at 1631 Lafayette Avenue.
Zoning.
Special Ordinance 54, 2017, vacating a portion of a north-south public alley located between 1255 Locust Street to the east and 1217 Locust Street to the west.
Traffic.
Special Ordinance 55, 2017, rezoning a property located at 1217 Locust Street and a portion of a vacated alley east of 1217 Locust Street.
Zoning.
Special Ordinance 56, 2017, vacating an east-west public alley located south of 2800 South 13th and a half Street.
Traffic.
Special Ordinance 57, 2017, rezoning a property located at 1340 and 1344 Wheeler Avenue and 2919 South 14th Street in a vacated alley south of 2800 South 13th and a half Street.
Zoning.
Special Ordinance 58, 2017, rezoning a property located at 1255 Locust Street.
Michelle, thanks for everything on the budget and spelling all these out, so, zoning. Zoning.
If there's no further questions, I'm
Go ahead. You made the motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Okay. All right. It's been moved by Councilwoman Aller, second by Councilman Garrison, that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.